All right, friends, welcome to Trending. Today is Thursday, July 6th. It's just a little bit before 9 o'clock. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. How's it going?
Doing good.
Yeah.
Doing good.
All right.
Before I forget, Joe, this is a big week in Ridgepoint land.
It is.
Our building is currently very full of a lot of people who aren't usually here.
Right.
We've got a garage sale. There is probably another record amount of junk. I mean, great things. Just feet from us in the lobby activity center.
Right.
There's so much stuff. People were here at 7, probably before 7, ready to take a look at all this stuff. It's a great thing. We bring in thousands of dollars. It's a fundraiser for our youth ministry. It's a great thing.
Yeah, and our students get to help participate, and they work together. It's fantastic. And I just got to admire the tenacity of Kyle and his team, because we're still in a building project.
Yes.
They are still working on stuff around them, and they've been able to carve out a little bit of space for a large garage sale. So
they've been working hard to get this ready. So, yeah,
kudos
props to them.
So Thursday, Friday, Saturday are the days. Today, prices are firm. Kind of standard fare for a garage sale. But then Friday and Saturday is when the dealing happens. But do you want to wait that long? The
good stuff will be gone. Got to come today.
That's the give and the take. So
right.
I actually got to go through the garage sale. And I wanted to just have a couple proppies, for the sake of getting people there and stuff. My favorite thing to do is to go to the coffee mugs.
Yes.
Because nothing's better for office banter than a
really
ironic coffee mug.
Yeah.
Don't you love Becky Clausen's lunch bag?
Yes.
It's like human organs or something that is what it is. She comes in with her casserole.
Right.
And it's is it brains in there? Right.
Right.
That's good stuff. So I went through, and there's a pile of mugs.
There's a lot of bugs every year.
Shapes and sizes different, things still crusted in them and stuff. These look pretty new. And some of them have names on them. One of them had Stacy on it.
Sure.
Okay.
Great name.
Right. I kept looking.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, maybe there's more names. I don't have a Stacy in my family.
Right.
Maybe I can find one for somebody in my family.
Yeah.
Then I saw another one, looked really close to this one with Ryan, right? And I thought, boy, these belong together.
Yeah, they do.
They have to.
And you can get both of them for 50 cents.
Yes. And then so I was on good authority that these did come from people in the church from our 2030 crowd.
Right.
In fact, someone closely related to our senior pastor.
I think you're right.
Workington. And I'm on good authority that these were actually a Friendsgiving project that somebody in Ryan and Stacy's life gave them for a Friendsgiving present. And here they are at the garage sale.
Yes. So Ryan and Stacy, whoever you are, thanks for your donation.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else, you can come buy these, priceless gifts that are now available for sale.
Yeah, and Krista Wiebe, I'm sorry.
That's awesome.
The mugs didn't make the cut. I'm sure you're still great friends. Of course. Anyways, all right. So there you go.
I think last year we had a couple really goofy things on the trending set here, and then people came and bought them. Our friends Melanie and John Shaw, I think, came. Well, so maybe, here you go. If you want limited edition special mugs, maybe you can come and see if these mugs are still available by the time you get here.
Yeah, they might. They might be. Ryan and Stacy are common names, though, so you may not want to wait till Saturday.
Right. That's awesome.
All right,
Joe, we got to get to it. So
that's right.
The big news today. A lot of people are talking about Threads. Okay, so let's kind of catch people up if people are just kind of hearing about this or curious about it. So Threads, brand new social network that launched yesterday. So it's brand new, just came out yesterday. It's made by Meta, so the people who make Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp and a couple other really popular things. So Mark Zuckerberg's obviously behind it. People are calling it already the Twitter killer. It's basically, it looks and feels a lot like Twitter. I told you this morning, I think it looks and feels exactly what you would expect for someone who made Facebook to make something that acts like Twitter. It's very much what it is. Yeah. So it launched yesterday. It very quickly became a huge app already. So I've got a couple numbers here. So within the first 7 hours, it had 10 million users within 7 hours.
And it didn't crash, right?
No, it seems like it's been a pretty fresh, they haven't had a whole lot of problems with the rollout, which is impressive.
Right.
I thought this was interesting. This is what Meta said is their goal with the platform. So it said, our vision with Threads is to take what Instagram does best and expand that to text, creating a positive and creative space to express your ideas. So obviously social media continues to evolve, continues to change. What a lot of people have said about Facebook is that it's becoming more and more more and more older people are on it, and there's more and more of this conspiracy stuff, right? Like it's just become a place of misinformation. That's kind of what the stereotype of Facebook is. In 2023, that's kind of the stereotype, is it's it's skewing a little bit older, and there's a lot of misinformation.
Right.
Instagram is interesting to me because somehow it seems to me that Instagram has remained somewhat pure. Like when I scroll through my Instagram, I don't see a bunch of junk. I see some stuff I didn't subscribe to, but it seems to be kind of like what they're saying here. They're trying to keep Instagram a positive and creative space, which I think, at least in my algorithm, that is still true.
Okay.
So they're trying to bring that as a Twitter competitor, because Twitter has become, especially since Elon Musk took over, there's a lot of controversy. He keeps changing things up. This week, there's some big news that if you didn't pay for the service, you'd be limited on how many tweets you could read, which is an interesting strategy that I don't think is going to pay out very well. Mm-hmm. So Threads has been in the work for a while now, but they actually they bumped up the release date considerably. I think it was originally going to be a few weeks or months away, but kind of pouncing on the moment when Twitter was having some trouble, they decided to launch a little bit earlier so they could be out there in the midst of all this Twitter controversy. So so I joined it last night, and one thing that I think is interesting, it launched yesterday, and I already have 37 followers, which, I mean, it's not a whole lot, but those are just my friends who are already on Instagram, who are also on Threads.
Okay.
So when you make an account, it's really easy to sync up your Instagram. You can take all your followers from Instagram, move them to Threads. It's a kind of a seamless thing. So I've been on it for 12 hours, and I've already got my timeline's full of people I know. But one of the things I read this morning I thought was interesting. I think this is back-to-back episodes where we quoted our friend Adam Grant.
Oh, man.
Adam Grant back.
That's right.
Which I just thought this is a good kind of synopsis of what I've seen so far. He said, I haven't seen a single troll on here yet. Is this thing on? So I think it's funny. Yes. And then he says, what would it take to sustain it? Imagine an algorithm that boosts insight over outrage and civility over cruelty. That sounds appealing to me. I like the idea of that.
Right.
So I guess, Joe, there's a lot to talk about. There's over the past handful of years, but there's been a few of these social networks that kind of pop up and then they quickly die off. There's been a handful that really haven't made it since Be Real is the last one that really a lot of people took on.
Yeah.
So we can talk about whatever you want to talk about, Joe. Do we need another social network? Is it worth it to jump on another one?
Right.
I think it's fascinating that it's kind of like when ChatGPT launched, millions of people got on right away. This is kind of the next thing where it launched, and all of a sudden a huge percentage of the population is already on it.
Yeah.
What are your main thoughts as you've been wrestling with this?
So a lot going on here. So I just think, do we need another social media network? Mm-hmm. Maybe so. I mean, I feel like all the different options of social media is like kind of like the recess grounds in elementary school, like all these different groups getting together. And I think the vision of having like just one social network platform is just not sustainable because you do have to make some like boundaries, and you have to frame what's going to be able to be inbounds and out of bounds here. With every embrace, there's also an exclusion. That's something that seems to be correlating with one another. And so it does seem like whatever Twitter provides, it just seemed like that space was getting smaller and smaller. And so there was this begging of another place to go to. This is obviously like capitalism running as well. Like Zuckerberg wanted to go after Musk. Yeah. He saw this as a prime opportunity. The timing of this is actually pretty good because, I mean, the Twitterverse is not happy about this limiting of number of tweets that you can read every day.
Right.
There's still plenty you can read in a day. Like, I don't know how much time you have to spend to get to your limit or whatever. But, I mean, you put like an exclusion thing like that, and then they time this thing. Like, this is actually a pretty decent timing. So good on them for having the intel to launch it and to get their ducks in a row for this week. But, yeah, it does seem like the big question out there is, will it succeed? Which I think begs a question: what does success or failure look like for these platforms? If it's making money, you can quantify that pretty quickly. It does look like Twitter's struggling. I don't know why. You and I were talking before we turned the cameras on here that it seems like Musk is making an interesting economic decision for Twitter. He says it's actually better to get subscriber money over marketing money.
Ad money. Yep.
Yeah, ad money. So like Twitter used to be like everybody, as many people involved as possible, then we'll get, marketing money and ad money towards it, right? Where now Musk is like, actually the better product might be limiting who's there and having them pay you directly. That's troubling, I think, for journalists. Journalists have used Twitter as a primary way to get the word out and to connect with people in order to craft stories.
Research
Stuff. So it does look like this is going to be just like a standard cost for journalists in the days to come, whether they like where Twitter's going or not. They want to be there for the discussion, the public discourse. And they are going to have to subscribe. And it's a small fee every month or whatever. But Twitter might turn into kind of a group think. Even though there might be many groups thinking, like, in group think on there. But it might be like a journalist grade discussion and not like a public grade discussion. So it's what's yet to be determined is if Threads, what a weird name.
It is weird. It's hard to make that normal. Yeah.
That's right. But Threads, if it can keep the social currency, like maybe the early days of Facebook. Maybe Instagram from the beginning, or maybe, as you've said, like maybe you've been able to keep ahead of the algorithm to where like it still is like kind of a place where like natural social interaction happens. And some of these other things that have done that. So I think it's yet to be determined. I just joined Threads as we were getting ready. I only have 2 followers, so I don't know what that means.
Well, I've got a couple hours on you. So.
Anyways, but I follow somebody, I guess, on Instagram, Christians who curse sometimes.
Nice.
Interesting. An interesting one, but they said this is 3 reasons why Threads will probably fail. And they were interesting. Somebody's lobbed that in there to kind of be a counterpoint to Adam Grant.
Sure.
Number 1, the best social platforms are built from the youngest generation up. If you don't have the admiration of the younger generation, you will fail. So that's an interesting question. As they were developing this, were they just trying to spruce up the Facebook product? Right? Is it actually going to appeal to younger people? Number 2, too much pomp and circumstance over a launch leads to overposting and then a flame out. Unless Meta can make Threads a place for things people aren't already seeing on Instagram, it's doomed. So it's going to be like a redundancy. And then number 3, this is an interesting point. People like controversy. Sorry, but it's true. Twitter was controversial and wild. Threads is safe, cute, and boring. I think I would challenge them on this. And I just go back to a news story that somebody did about how reality TV shows have to bake in controversy. Because it doesn't happen as naturally as it appears to be and projects on these TV shows. But producers, they know they have to like stoke controversy because humans are pretty stubborn about getting along with one another. And so maybe I think I would challenge them on, I think people there was a great study about hidden tribes in America that came out, maybe 7-8 years ago. And it revealed, and it kind of tried to slice up the general public in politics and, thorny issues. And the overwhelming majority are like the exhausted majority. They are kind of moderate. And I think that they would love a place where healthy banter, more sarcasm, and like where people don't get animated and angry,
just fun,
and get entrenched, fast. And so I think people are looking for a place to delight, which is, I think, is actually a spiritual concept, a spiritual mode. And so this is my appeal to Threads, the Threads, brass out there.
Zuck, if you're watching.
That's right. And we know you are in between your MMA training sessions, since you're going to have like this octagon fight with Elon Musk or whatever. If you could keep it delightful, I think people will be drawn to it.
I think so too.
I think people want a place where they can delight.
I think so too. We could go a long time about this. I want to keep it relatively brief today, but one more question I want to toss to you. I guess, again, there's a lot of good. Social media is just a tool, right? We've talked about this before. Like it can be good or bad or neutral, whatever. But I think it is interesting. The more tools that we have now, if Threads becomes another thing where pretty much everybody has, let's say everybody has a Facebook, a Twitter, an Instagram, and a Threads, and maybe a Be Real, and maybe a whatever else. It is just interesting to me. Like there's just more and more things that we feel this pressure to keep up with. More and more things to check, more and more notifications, more and more scrolling. Like if there is another one that becomes another norm for most people, like are we going to reach a cap? is it healthy for us to add another thing to keep checking? Are we going to reach a point where we have too many?
Yeah.
What do you think about all that?
I certainly think that tech shapes us, and we shape tech. I think that is a thing. But I was on Instagram last week, and a friend of mine posted a picture of her middle school age son who's got an Instagram.
Yeah.
And maybe he's in high school now, and he only has like 4 posts or whatever. Mm-hmm. And she made a big like general statement about how this generation doesn't post like her generation does.
Okay.
And I just don't think that's the case, because I know both her and her husband doesn't post. Maybe it's just his personality, like their child's personality is more like her husband, right?
Yeah.
So I just think people will use it from our native identity set.
Yeah.
Are we shaped by what we take in? Absolutely. So I'm not saying that's yet to be determined. I do think people's minds are changed and shaped. I think social networks or like this media or tech itself will draw. They're psychedelics. They draw from the soul. They will like pull things out of us for sure. But I just think whoever is keen on using these things will use them. I think people use it to monetize, to be influencers. So I think we're going to have a whole new flock of influencers, perhaps who rush to the space first.
Yeah.
So I just think that this thing is gonna emerge into whatever it's gonna emerge into, and I don't think there's not a secret sauce. I think people will go to it, and they'll find a way to manage it all. I mean, there are those like TweetDeck and those services where you can post, and one post will kind of feed everything. Yeah. So I think that people will manage it that way. But I'm thankful. I think maybe my Instagram is like too full now. So like now I'm on a brand. I have it open now, and there's like 3 or 4 things that have been posted that I can't wait to follow up on. Yeah, things I wouldn't have seen.
Right.
And I think once again, this tech is a stream. Twitter's a stream. Instagram's a stream. Facebook's a stream. Yeah. And if you don't attend to the stream, you will miss it. Yeah. Right. Right. And so I think people may feel compelled to not miss stuff. And so if you find it valuable to keep up with the stream, you will probably use it more than the average user. Yeah. But I do think people are just going to negotiate it in their own minds. That's just my assumption.
I joined early. It's part of my job to keep an eye on this kind of stuff, right? So I feel like it's part of my role in.
It's Ridgepoint's fault.
No, it's not Ridgepoint's fault, but it's the career I've chosen. Like I need to be up on this stuff. Right. But I'll admit, like I never got on to Snapchat. I'm not on Be Real. This is the first one I felt like I really kind of had to be there because Meta is behind it. Like it feels like this might be a big one. So I felt like I should be there. But I'll be honest, like I'm kind of tired of the newness. Like I'm not sure if I'm ready for another new thing to keep up with. Like I feel old. Like I feel like another one that I need to start
this is like get learning off my
about
lawn, Matt.
A little bit. Like this is the first time I feel like we don't need another. Do we need another one? I'm tired of it. Do I need to learn a new thing? What does that mean for Ridgepoint? You know what I mean? Like this is the first time I feel a little bit like, do we have to do this again? We've got so many already. Do we need another one?
So are you gonna like cut one so that you can attend to this, or
I don't know. It's very early. So I very rarely use Twitter. One of the only reasons I kept my Twitter was for trending. I check it every week for trending. That's one of the only times I use it.
Gotcha.
So I don't know. I'm not active on Twitter anymore at all. So maybe this will be my third one behind Instagram and Facebook. I don't know. We'll see.
Gotcha.
But I'm like, if it does stay a positive and creative space like they're kind of aiming for, I think there is a hole. I think that will attract people and that will keep me coming back if that vibe continues. So we'll see. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. All right, man.
So if you are on Threads, if you would like, you can follow us. We can follow you back. Let's build it together, right? Like that's in these early days, it's kind of up to us to decide what it becomes, right? Yeah. So I'd love to hear what you think. If you're on it, let us know what you're thinking as you're exploring. Yeah. And hit us up on there. We can chat a little bit.
That's right, man. Be good stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Well, make sure you come to the garage sale to get these mugs or anything else that your heart might desire. And maybe we'll see you around if you make some stops at Ridgepoint this week.
I've heard there's free DVDs with every purchase because we have thousands of them.
Really?
Yes.
Nice. Okay. Free DVDs. There you go.
There you go.
All right. Well, hey, thanks so much for watching. We hope to see you at the garage sale. Hope to see you back on Sunday, and we'll be back here next week. So,
all right.
See you next week or on Threads.
Yeah, absolutely. See you next time.